You're right there. You can feel it.
I've heard Sherry.
Yes, it's very
Discussing stuff.
So 6 o'clock, I'd like to call our meeting door, please. Stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adoption of tonight's agenda. I would need a motion and a second to do that.
And Mayor, we do need to add 13A
Okay.
to the agenda, approve, update to personnel policy and procedure. Section 16. And with that, I would make a motion to adopt the agenda with the addition.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Approval of February 5th, 2024 minutes. Need a motion and a second to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 minutes.
I say it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Public comment. Citizens may speak on items not listed on the printed agenda. Please state your name and address and observe the 3-minute time limit. Do we have anyone?
I do not have anyone sign.
Is anyone here to speak tonight? If not, we'll move on. Consideration of requests for Davidson County Public Health Department Public Health Month Proclamation. Lillian, glad to have you here again tonight.
It's great to see you all again tonight. Thank you so
2 in a
much.
row for you. That's pretty good. Sure. I'm gonna stand up and read this, okay? Town of Denton Proclamation, Public Health Month. Whereas the Davidson County Health Department has served the community for more than 100 years and provided measurable contributions to enhancing the quality of life for our residents. And whereas public health programs have evolved over the past century from a focus on sanitation and controlling the spread of infectious diseases, and now also preventing the onset of chronic diseases. And whereas the significant increase in life expectancy is widely credited to improvements in public health programs. And whereas Public health promotes improved lifestyles by providing services and supporting policies to help young people stay well and develop into healthy adults. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Larry Ward, Mayor of the town of Denton, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Public Health Month and encourage all citizens of Denton to take steps to protect and promote the health and well-being of their families by making healthy personal lifestyles choices and seeking regular preventive health care.
Thank you, Mayor Ward. I appreciate it. Commissioners, it's always great to see y'all. I'm real excited. I got to come twice now. Maybe I'll see y'all again soon. I really appreciate the partnership that we have in Denton. Recently, the manager was instrumental in setting up a meeting for us to work on some public health things, and the things and the work that we do in Davidson County would be impossible without excellent partnerships. So thank you for yours. If there's ever anything we can do for y'all, the public health department, don't hesitate to let us know. And I just appreciate y'all all for recognizing April's Public Health Month, because your health is your wealth, and we hope to serve you all. So thank you so much.
Could I ask a question?
Of course you may.
Tell me about COVID. What's it doing in the county? Is it picking up or dying off?
It's most certainly not dying off, but it is doing what we would like to say is the best possible thing right now, where cases continue, but the severity is going down. You may have seen last week the CDC has changed the guidance for COVID. We're thrilled about that. So we're treating COVID like we would any other respiratory virus at this point, where if you're sick, you should stay home if you're super symptomatic or if you have a fever. About the time you start getting better, your fever goes away, about 24 hours later, you can get back and going out with other folks. So this is where we want it to be. We're not going to ever eradicate COVID, it doesn't look like, so we're just going to have to deal with it. But the cases are not increasing in severity, which makes us very, very happy.
I don't know of anyone that's had COVID lately. Is the nursing home guy? I don't think there's a lot down here right now.
That's what we want.
We might have maybe, but we don't have too many COVID.
We're going to knock on some wood about that, Mayor. We're taking it on. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
being
it.
here tonight. Presentation from Davie-Davidson Apprenticeship Consortium, Holmes.
Michael can't be with us tonight. I'm Jonathan Brown. I'm here with Casey. So we just want to talk to you a little bit about what we have going on at the college and what we've done in the last 5 years with some of our local businesses, specifically advanced manufacturing. So you do have a handout. I'm not going to sit here and obviously read that to you, but I would like during the presentation, if you do have questions, please just stop me, ask me, and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. So my role right now is I'm the Vice President of Workforce and Community Engagement at the college. And basically what we've tried to do here in the last couple of years is help out with Casey's help with economic development, when we're especially the companies that we're serving now, but in particular, we've had an influx of new businesses in Davidson and Davie County. So we've tried to form a consortium, which started 5 years ago, and it started with Eggerwood Products. Egger come, and they're from Austria, so they have a strong apprenticeship base. At the college, we actually went over there, developed an apprenticeship program with them, and then when we came back, we realized that it's going to take more than just one company to do this. So we asked several other companies to join us. We're very pleased right now, and you can look right now. We have BMK, CPM Wolverine Proctor, Ingersoll Rand, Curtis Transfer Products, Mohawk, Cascade Dye, and Owens and Minor, who are currently members in our consortium. So how we work this is we work collectively as a group. We're a 501(c)(3) now. And we did that for several reasons. We were working on a $13,000 budget. The college, from a college standpoint, we could do some marketing and recruiting. But to ever get this thing up and going, we knew we'd have to incorporate, which allows us to apply for grants. Working with economic development, Casey and his group, they were gracious enough to give us some seed money to start doing a little bit more advertising and marketing, because I still go out in the community. I'm a lifelong Davidson County resident. I know a lot of people here in the county, and a lot of people still don't know about this apprenticeship consortium that we have. So we're asking not only for your help in helping recruit businesses, tell them that we have these amazing opportunities, not only for our companies, but more importantly for our students, whether that would be a young person coming out of high school, or it may be the incumbent worker who may have been with the company for a long time. So we can do apprenticeships pretty much in every career path that you can think of. Now, we're specifically focusing on maintenance, industrial maintenance, and electronics engineering with these two pathways that we have right now. But as a consortium, we're expanding, we're growing. We've added machining this year, and we're looking to add everything from human resources, accounting, business, marketing, because it will fit all the models. And why this is important, apprenticeships are not new by any means, but they've had a resurgence and a comeback. And more importantly, our Department of Labor is sinking a lot of money in helping us do things for the companies. So right now we had an expansion grant which allows our companies who qualify, they're getting half of their wage reimbursements now. So for example, a first year apprentice in our program makes $14 an hour, but a company is getting reimbursed $7 of that every paycheck for them. So the cost for a company is a lot smaller than it could be. The company is responsible for the tuition and the books. However, we've had grants in the past where through the college we're able to pay for the majority of that. And we've seen, more importantly, that the return on the investment for all of our companies, for every dollar spent, we've had a return of $1.49 on it. So it's been amazing. 5 years into it, we have over a 95% retention rate. So what we're finding is that these students that come in, they are staying loyal to that company, and they're finishing with us. Now, from the college standpoint, all we do is the related course of instruction. We teach it the other days. So, for example, they may come to class 1 day a week, 4 days a week. They're on the job doing their on-the-job training. Okay. What we found was after last year, a lot of our companies were saying, "Hey, we need our second and third year people to be at the shop or the company more because they're our best people." So we've kind of tweaked that, and now we have a 2-year model where we're front-loading the educational piece, and they would do the on-the-job training on the backside. What that leads to for every student is a debt-free education. They come out with a journeyman's card, which recognizes them as a master craftsman in whatever field they're in, and they also have an associate's degree for us, and that is 100% debt-free. Every student starts as a freshman in year one, and we have a competitive wage scale with an agreement with all of our companies. They come in, not only they're full-time employees, but they have full-time benefits. So 401ks, they earn PTO, and we actually pay them when they are in class. So there's a little bit to it. They just can't miss class. Because they miss class, they don't get paid. It's been a wonderful program. We're looking for it to grow. And we just want people to know we're here and this is what we're doing here locally. So I'm going to pause for a second. I've said a lot. I want to ask if you have any questions. There's everything in here from our related instruction and the courses that we teach to the company members and everything else. Anybody have any questions at this point?
Done a good job.
Well, I will speak. My pitch always when I'm in front of people, I'm a lifelong educator. Before I came to the college, I was in K-12. I was a high school principal in 4 high schools. But this is what I know. Every student that comes into this program, it gives them that opportunity to break the poverty cycle in Dayton County. It is a life-changing event for them. And I'm telling you, it is a great thing. I'm not saying we have the secret sauce, but we're pretty close to it. I just believe it, because if you talk to our companies, and more important, our apprentices, they'll tell you the same thing. So most of them, when they graduate, if you look at the competitive wage scale that we have, once we get into year 3, year 4, we kind of have a gentleman's agreement where if that apprentice is a really good one, you may pay them a little bit more. But to kind of give you an idea, a high school teacher that comes out with a 4-year degree, probably $100,000 in debt, is going to make, maybe close to $40,000. All of our apprentices make more than that. And some of them, you know, when they get, once they're done, once they get into year 3 and year 4 afterwards, they're probably pushing the $50,000 range in these companies. So they're making pretty good money, again, with zero investment from them. The company is taking care of all that.
How do the students find the program?
So we go out to every high school as a consortium, and we recruit. We also talk with the local high schools and their CDCs to tell them about the program. We host things at the college, so every year, typically in April, we'll do what we call an apprentice day. I'll get with the county school system, the city school systems, and I'll say, bring a group from your high school to our campus. They can meet the companies. We can show them our facilities and talk to them about the programs. So we're right now in our recruiting phase. So if you know anybody who's interested, all they have to do is go to our website. When they go to our website, they can apply. And once that name gets to that company, it goes directly to them. We have open houses at each company. We want the student to come in, but we want the parents, more importantly, to come with them because we want to show them that it is a safe, clean working environment. Because once that process starts, from the school standpoint, we're not involved because it's a hiring process. It's an HR thing. The businesses can do that. So I may not be a good fit for KERS, but we talk as a consortium by maybe a great fit for BMK. So we try not to let too many slip through. Unfortunately, we do not require companies to say, hey, you have to have X number of apprentices each year because we know that's a financial obligation that they have to factor into their payroll and their budgeting. So we typically take, in our last cohort, in the last 3 years, anywhere between 20 to 30 apprentices. Now, we're getting up to the point where we're having over 100 to 150 people apply. So we worry about the ones we're missing too, because we want them to be interested, but we've got some other ways too, because once they apply to the college, they're on our list and they can join these programs too, because you can do these programs and just not being an apprentice. So we offer this to the everyday student. And the one thing that we're really trying to push, if these high school students, specifically down here in South Davidson, and they can start the CCP in that junior year, they can start taking some of these classes. And what that does is it accelerates the process. So once they graduate, once they've taken those classes, they don't have to retake them. I mean, they've got credit for them. And the beauty about the CCP part is, again, it's free too. So there's a lot of ways that we can work with our communities and, more importantly, our students.
If you get 100 and you only accept 20, what is it funding? Is that?
So it comes down to each company, how many apprentices they need. Typically, Edgar and Mohawk take the most apprentices because Edgar's into another expansion getting ready. Mohawk's always expanding. They're going to be on 85 before you know it. I say that all the time there in Thomasville. But some companies may say, I only need 1 this year, but next year they may need 5, and then they may not need any for another year. Again, it comes down to their planning too and how they do it. So that's why when I say we're getting a lot of the numbers, it's great, but I'd like to see more companies get involved too. And I assure you, when you're talking to the companies, they can come speak to the consortium, call me, etc. We're going to do most of the legwork for the companies when it comes to all the paperwork and everything else. They just got to do a very little part of it. So we try to really work with them and tailor that to them.
Do you know if Nucor is going to be?
So we have been in discussion with Nucor. They have a training facility down in Alabama, but I think we've got them agreed to start doing some with our apprenticeship consortium. In the last couple weeks, we've talked with them, RCR Racing in their machining part, and then of course Siemens is coming to Lexington too, so that'll be another company we'll be targeting. We've got the pouch, EV pouch coming, DMP, that will be coming. So again, we're just not looking, I want to stress, we're going to try to tailor to the new guys, but the people that have been here, and if they're having trouble with growing a sustainable workforce, we think we can be a solution for them too. And I want to leave it, it doesn't have to be just IST or EET in our programs. Like I said, it could be welding, it could be HVAC, it could be accounting, it could be human services. We can kind of tailor that to all of them.
Water plant employee?
What's that?
Water plant employee?
Water plant employee, so you know, I did have a discussion with, the city of Lexington about that, with utilities, specifically gas and water. So anything's possible, so if you just wanna sit down, please give me a call, we can look at it, because you'll find a lot of the stuff, we've got related instruction that's already close to it. And another thing we can do is, it doesn't always have to be on our curriculum side. We can do stuff through our continuing education department, which it's the same, but the cost is cheaper, and we can do it at night or on the weekends, etc. So we're very flexible. We've even looked at models to where we're going to try to go to facilities and help train, and we've already done that through our customized training projects that some of the companies get through the state. But we're not against any of that. We're just trying to be solutions to problems. And we know that everybody, I don't care what industry you're in, finding good, reliable workers, it's an everyday problem. So what we would ask is just when you're doing your budgeting and thinking about things in the next year, just think about the consortium. Like I said, we've got some money from economic development. We're just looking and we're talking to all the municipalities, how we can be a workforce solution to partner along with the EDC already, and really work a lot more closely with you guys too. We want you to know what we're doing. We want to be transparent, and we want you to be able to pick up the phone and call us. So if I don't have any more questions, I do appreciate your time, Mayor and Commissioners, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Approved Town of Denton events calendar, December 2023. Parks and Rec board members.
Hey, Mayor and Commissioners, I'm here on behalf of the Parks and Rec to try to get our calendar, approved so we can carry on with some of the things we need to make decisions on. And so I'm wanting questions on what you have questions on, what's the holdup on approving that part of the calendar. If somebody wants to direct that to me. I think there might have been some questions about the pageant for one thing, but is there any other things that was concerning on the calendar itself, or is it just that?
Are you gonna have any music in the park?
Our goal is to usually have a band there. I mean, usually we have the Watermelon Festival, which was taken last year, so that kind of gave up our spot of having a band. We went with the October festival with the town, and we feel like that they control or ask who they want to for those events. We certainly wouldn't mind going in and, helping, take that out of our budget if that's one of the questions. But we haven't been asked that or co-sponsor a band.
I think one of the questions was, how did the pageant work?
How does it work?
Yeah, is it?
It's a community service pageant, which means it's not a beauty pageant. We're a non-contract pageant, which means they do not sign a contract saying they can't go out and do, let's just say, the Miss Denton pageant. If they want to do the Miss Denton pageant, they're welcome to do that. Our goal is to raise money and items for the Resource Center, Project Santa, which we just did this past year, and the backpack program. And any time during the year, it's done by age group. Whoever collects the most items for that age group, they are crowned queen or king. And we have several age groups. That's because you don't want a baby competing against an 18-year-old. So that way each group has a chance to win. When you put all those groups together, whoever collected the highest amount of items or money is considered our ambassador. That's the person or the contestant that raised the most. And if they come out of the 18-year-old category, the next person in that category that raised the most under them is considered the queen of that category, or king, however it may fall. I think we have a king separate than we don't have the kings and the queens together, so. But it is any age group. I do have some numbers of what it's done over the past 5 years. Very impressive numbers, I might add, considering it's Denton. Anytime we do anything through fundraising, or we go to Mount Vista, we do cards for Mount Vista, we do, once in a while we do bingo, but with COVID and all, we kind of backed off of the bingo thing because I wasn't sure, you know, Tammy usually tells us, hey, won't you just have them come to a little party with them for Christmas, or, you know, and we usually have about 7 or 8 of whoever participated in the pageant come that won. Now, we do offer that if they didn't win their category, or if they didn't collect enough to win, that they do come with us. We still offer that to them, that they can come with us and be a part of whatever we do during the year. So it's not just a beauty pageant per se. It's not a buy your crown, it's an earn your crown. And I think it teaches them from the time they're little. And I'm telling you right now, if you give a $4 to a $15 crown, they're going to come to the pageant. They just like that. The parents and the grandparents like that concept of it. I don't believe myself, I'm speaking for myself, I don't believe it takes away from Miss Denton pageant whatsoever. We don't try to butt in on their time, or we're just totally different from them. So.
The service aspect I love, and I said that in the meeting last month, that, you know, I think you all have done a lot of good, you've helped a lot of people, and I think that's important. I just had posed the question, was there a way that you could do the service portion and it be a different type of competition rather than a crown? And, I do think that the service portion has helped a lot of people. And so I'm definitely not taking that away from the concept of the pageant. I just was asking, was there a different way that it could be done?
Okay. So maybe there is, but being honest, moving forward, I really would not want to change anything about it. I mean, it's worked well that way. If it hasn't been working well, then I could see, even with the 15 contestants that we had this past year, because of the time frame, I think it was put to October. There's so many things going on in October with school and sports and things like that. That's why we didn't have a lot of participation, but we still got almost $4,000 and 256 toys. So, it just proves to be a good thing. And I say, once you say a crown, they're going to come do that pageant. I've been doing this type of pageant since 2009. I've never been a pageant person, really. I haven't. But my granddaughter started doing them, and that's mostly what we did was community service pageants. Not around here. We did Fayetteville and I have also organized some pageants in Fayetteville, to which we raised over $10,000 in one pageant. So it's just a thing that works. And I can understand people seeing it as a beauty pageant, but we only offer one outfit, across the stage. They may answer a little question. That's so you can see if they'll go. But the points really that the judges give them, we have maybe two judges, and that really doesn't count toward their winning a whole lot because it's what you collect. And, we ask that they at least collect 10 items.
Right.
Plus they have to pay $25 to be in it. So if anything, if I would change, I would make it to where they didn't have to pay anything to be in it.
What does the $25 go for?
We get a shirt and they get a t-shirt and a crown. I mean, that's what, and a goodie bag, that's what pays, that's
So
what
it's
pays.
self-supporting as far as that goes.
Yeah, so it don't come out of our Parks and Rec funds. I mean, they may loan me the money to buy the stuff in the beginning, but once they start turning in their fees, we get that money plus back, so.
I don't know, in the beginning, I think some people, not in the beginning, because the beginning was watermelon, but I think last year, and I know there's been some controversy, but I know I have had some people from the Miss Denton pageant speak to me, and I think some of the others may have. But I don't know if they thought the timing of it being so close to what theirs was, but
So that would be my next suggestion, is if we could move it back to August. That way it's not so close to the Miss Denton pageant. See, I really didn't think it needed to be moved to October anyway, but that wasn't my say.
Right.
I mean, I respect what y'all say, but in the end, I feel like that if y'all feel like this controversy with them, which I've spoken to two of the Miss Denton people that's over it,
Yeah.
and they said to me, in no way, no how do they feel like that we have interfered with them whatsoever. So
Well, and it's just going to depend on probably who you
Yes.
talk to and the time. you
that's
talk to.
exactly right, and I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in this town, I know,
You know.
I know, and so,
Becky, what if you combined it with like the back to school bash?
well, we had talked about it the last meeting about doing that. My concerns about that, and it's in the time of year that I would say, yes, let's do that, but my concerns is, if we're working with the backpack program and they're collecting backpacks, then we're also asking the kids to collect for the canned food drive or the toys for Project Santa.
Well, I mean, Dean and
Well,
I,
we talked about Christmas. It would be good, but I'm sure it's just too
Yes.
busy during that time. I said, what if
Yes.
it was a Christmas queen of some kind?
Yes, and we have, and I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're
I'm
fine.
saying,
That's fine.
back whenever, the Perrys got killed on 49,
Mhm.
I actually was doing toys for the town
I
pageant,
remember that.
and that worked very well.
Mhm.
However, my son-in-law was killed in an accident, so I had started going to Florida every other week, and I told him, I said, I cannot put the time in it that it needs to be. It takes a lot of time, and, you know, it's a lot of legwork. So they decided just to discontinue that. But when I was approached in 2019 by the Parks and Rec Board, they came to me saying, we have taken the Artisans Guild pageant, and would you be interested in heading that up? And I said, and she said, there'll only be like 6 or 8 people in it, 10 people at the most. And I was like, okay, but the only way I'll do it with the stipulation that I can use it as a community service pageant instead of doing a beauty pageant. That was the stipulations that I come on board for that, and that was 5 years ago, so.
And the artisan group,
They did it 2 years.
they did it for 2 years, and theirs they did not do.
They didn't have a project and they did not have good participation.
They had 6 the first year and they had 8 the second year. And I had 44 the first year that I did it. So I'm not tooting my own horn, I'm just saying, that, you know, we had 44 and it stayed up to 44 until this past year when it was moved to that time of year. And a lot of people I say, because I have a lot of people that return each year to do it. Even if they don't think they're going to win, they do it just because it's for a good cause. They say, we have ball games that day. My son's playing that night at the high school. I can't, you know, we can't do it. We just don't have the time for it, so.
I think a Christmas pageant would be good.
Or 4th of July. I even thought about, but I mean,
But then you look at it, and I don't know, it's the Threshers
you got a
has
lot.
theirs.
You got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff going on in July.
July.
And I'm not
Yeah, that's
beyond,
right.
because I think that the churches, the 2 ladies, like from Central Methodist, I think the pastor over there, I think her and another lady are heading up the backpack program. So, I mean, be to try it because this year is the resource center's turn to have, you know, be recipients. So I'm willing to try that this year. I just don't think October's a very good time of year. It just really is not. And like y'all say, it's close to the Miss Denton pageant, and I certainly don't want to get on, you know,
No,
in their territory.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like by talking to them, I don't feel like that we were. Because anytime that the Parks and Rec is doing anything, our queens come and help give out pins to the veterans. They went down, I think they came down to your dinner and gave out pins to them down there. But we always say to the Miss Denton, if y'all are welcome to come. You know, it's like they're not invited.
Right.
I guess how does this work in with your mission statement for Parks and Rec? Maybe that's the trouble I have.
Our mission statement?
Yeah.
Well, because it's a community service pageant and anybody in the community can be in it, that's where I say that the free should come in, because we're supposed to be doing free events for everybody. And since it's working so well, and we're not actually gathering the money and the product for whoever we're collecting for, therefore, that's the contestants. We don't have no part of that. I mean, we
But
can say.
you're over them. I mean, if anything.
Yeah,
goes
we're
wrong,
over them, and like the contestants that win, I'm always with them majority of the time unless I have something else going on at the florist or something like that I can't be there. But most of the time, I'm the one orchestrating it, or I'm with them at Mount Vista when they go down there to make sure they're, you know, doing what they should be doing, so.
You do gift bags for Mount Vista, don't you?
We do gift bags and we do cards, mainly handmade cards is what they've been doing lately. Instead of going down there per se, since there was so much sickness last month, we chose just to do cards for Valentine's Day. But there was a lot sick down there last month, so we chose not to go in. And Christmas, we went down there and did games and caroling and, you know, a little Christmas party for them. Had cake and hot chocolate and stuff like that, so.
If it was made free, what would we be looking at on cost?
Maybe about $900. If that, because like I said, crowns range from $4. And, you know, when I'm given a budget, any of us are given a budget on Parks and Rec, most of the time we have money left on that particular budget. So, you know, I just don't feel like it's a waste of money. I feel like it, you know,
Do you, like if you, I know you mentioned t-shirt, if you have, I would assume, and this is just me, that since you only had 12 last year, you had a lot of leftover t-shirts.
I only order, he does them, when I call him the week
Okay.
before, he'll make however many I
Okay, so
need.
you don't have a
I think I had 2 left from last year.
Okay.
And that was just because, I think maybe there was 1 or 2 that didn't show up.
Okay.
And sometimes they'll pay that $25 and not come, but I think they think that $25 is going toward whoever we're giving the money to. That's a misconception sometimes. They'll think, oh, you got that $25, does that not go to, no, it does not. We do not give any money to, let's say, the Resource Center. That is all done by the contestants.
So the crowns range from $4 to,
$15,
okay.
and that's,
And how many of those are given out?
well, we have 11, I think I counted 11 age groups. That's 0 to 2, I probably have it in here somewhere, I'm not sure, but, you know, 2 to 3 year olds, and then you have, it goes up to 65 and over, so anybody can be in it, male or female. I look forward to Scotty coming to be in it one time.
That's a good king, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, what are the other expenses incurred, besides just the crowns and the t-shirts?
Goodie bags.
Goodie bags.
And that's just got candy. Most of the time we just put candy. We get a bag, we put the shirt, the candy, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we don't pay our judges, because they're really, that's just really just so the little kids and the older kids can get that experience of a pageant. It's not, like I said, mostly personality.
On the money, but they turn all the money into you and then you write a check.
No, I don't. They turn it into town hall. I touch none of the money. Town hall
But it
does
goes
that.
somewhere.
And then, yeah, we don't.
It's directed straight to whatever organization
Yeah.
is benefiting.
Yeah,
So-
it's not made out to the town of Denton. If they write a check to begin it, they make it out to Project Center. Let's say that. That's what they did this past year. Or Resource Center.
But the
But
$25.
the $25 goes into the town hall. I'm sorry. Yes, I misunderstood that. But any money they collect outside goes, if they collect $10 from somebody, it's a check, it has to be made out to Project Center. It's not made out to the town of Denton.
If you could choose the best day, what would you choose?
For the pageant,
Yeah.
I would say August. The same thing, the same weekend that we were having the Watermelon Festival. Because I think that's right before everybody gets involved in school events. It's a little hotter that time, but Denton Westland has been so good to let us use their pavilion. It has fans down there, and then we did the crowning the next day at the festival.
How would you handle the crowning if there's nothing the next day?
We'd have it that night, or that day, whenever we probably have it during the day, during the Saturday day. I think on Friday nights, it's not a good night because people's having, to get off work. They're getting off work and hurrying home to get them ready. We had it to where they could drop everything off on a Thursday night, but that's still hectic for the ones that have to work to come. We have like a little meeting to explain everything to them. And, you know, to let them know, we always let them know that they're not contracted in, that if they want to go do another pageant, they're welcome to do that. We're not holding them back, but our main goal is to get them involved in community service and some of the shut-ins through the resource center. Sometimes we take stuff to them. They may have a name or two that don't have family around here or something, and maybe one or two of the queens say, hey, can we take them something? Or, you know, I provide a list to them and say, this is what needs to be done this month. Can anybody do it? And most of the time it's participation from all of them. We didn't have that many age categories this year, so the last Sunday, or the 2 Sundays ago when they went, it was, there was 8 of them there. Which I believe was all of them.
If you move it to August, what would you change the name?
Not necessarily. It could still be the harvest because you're harvesting money and food or toys or whatever we're dealing with that. We wouldn't have to. We changed it this past year because of the changed time, but
Right.
I personally am okay with leaving it like that. Unless there's some someone that don't think that needs to happen.
I think initially the Miss Denton pageant was originally called Harvest Pageant. Harvest
Yes.
Queen.
I'm aware of that.
So
I particularly didn't come up with that name, but, that was a group effort, but.
and I'm not saying good or bad.
Yes,
I'm just
yes,
saying,
yes.
I'm just stating fact.
And,
That's how it started out.
I don't know, if something is doing so well and benefiting our community, I don't see why there's a question about any part of it. That's my personal opinion, as well as some on the board. We've talked about it, of course. I'm just a little bit more passionate about it, I guess.
Well, I think you do a lot of good. I mean, I think if you change the month, I think that would be better for everybody.
And we only changed it to them because we felt like, we were told that if we could take the 2 best aspects from the Watermelon Festival and move it, so we moved that and the cornhole tournament. And who's to say we couldn't even do a cornhole tournament and do a pageant one weekend and not even do a festival type thing? The cornhole tournament brought in several teams.
How much did you make off that alone?
We don't make, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't make anything off of that, correct?
The cornhole tournament is run by a couple, and I cannot think of their last name at the moment, but they do it on a half and half, like whatever the entry fee is. Half of it goes to prize winnings, and the other half comes into the town to offset the cost of, running the porta johns and things like that. So we advertise.
So they particularly don't make any money off of it.
Last time we had
They do it for free.
35 teams.
It was like 35 teams, yeah.
I think they're $25 at entry, so whatever half of that would be. But they do.
And your town got one there for that.
So I wasn't aware of that, so I missed that part of the meeting. But that's what we were asked to do, if we would, move from that time to October. And so I had initially said it's not gonna work with the pageant, because I knew, from doing it for several years, I've been doing this type of pageant since 2009, so you can kind of feel out of town and see what time is gonna work and what's not gonna work. And I could be totally wrong. I mean, move it back and it may not. But listen, like I said, we had 15 this past year, and we still raised about $4,000 and 256 toys.
So looking at August, you would do a different, you wouldn't want, it would not be the same weekend. that this back to school bash, or you said no, right?
I said no, but, I can't remember off the top of my head, let me see when the back to school bash is.
August
17th.
17th, so probably toward the
And you got
first
a
of the.
meeting that night too.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be that night.
Yeah.
No. I would say probably maybe the first weekend in August or, is what I'm thinking.
And that's the time the watermelon.
Yes, that's when the Watermelon
Wasn't it?
Festival was
Worked
originally
good for you.
done. Yeah, and it worked good.
First weekend.
I mean, we never went below 30, I think the lowest we had before last year was 38 contestants. It went from 44 to 38, 39, back to 38, and then down to 15.
If you did it the first weekend in August, that way you beat it before you had football game.
Yes, and that's what, yeah. That would get some of the older girls interested. And like I said, it's not gonna take away from if they still wanna do the Miss Denton in November. Yeah, Miss Denton is a contract pageant. You sign a contract saying you won't do any other pageants for, say, while you're reigning as Miss Denton.
I had a person come and talk to me after the meeting last month, and they have a family member that's involved in pageants. And I know personally, every time I've seen that family member, that they've grown in, they've gone beyond the watermelon pageant or gone beyond your local pageant. And, they have grown a lot, and I've seen that. I loved I'm not a pageant person, so so the crown wasn't a big deal to me, but the service that they did, I always thought that was excellent. So it kind of made me think a little bit about that family member talked about how much their family member had grown through that, and so it's not personally for me, but I do think it does do a lot of good. And if you think moving it to a different time, that probably would be better. My personal vision, when we went down to one festival, I had envisioned Parks and Rec and the town staff working together to make a bigger, better festival. Mm-hmm. And not just take parts from one and parts from another, but kind of grow into something more than where we were. Yes. So if that was the case and that pageant's moved, maybe there are opportunities. I know that y'all got the Monster Mash coming up 2 weeks later, mm-hmm. but there may be opportunities that y'all could assist with some areas and help that. Yes. Because that is publicizing the town. Yes. That's our one big event to publicize the town that I think Parks and Rec should be involved.
Yes. And when I help with an event, I'm 100% in. And we were told, you're taking the pageant, the cornhole tournament, so we were focused on that. Now, of course, if someone has said, they want y'all to come up with a couple of games to do during that day, we probably would put our heads together and said, okay, this is what we're going to do, mm-hmm. along with the pageant.
Right.
Because it's doable, because you do the pageant the night before, and then you do the crown the next day. It could have been done, but we just misunderstood.
Right.
That's all that happened, which I thought it turned out well anyway, even with the rain and things like that. So, but moving forward, we need to get on, because we got things we need to be getting approved that we can't do until we have the whole calendar approved. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just the pageant, it was other things. So
I think the other feedback I heard, I don't even know who said it, but the chili cook-off, mm-hmm. like for everybody to be able to taste, yes. And not just maybe have some secret judges.
We're trying to think of a feasible way to do that without everybody having to make 10 gallons of chili.
Right.
Because the first year we did it, it was a little overwhelming for us. We ran out of cups because we wasn't thinking, they got to think however many chilies you got, that's how many each person is going to get.
Right.
So that, it was just a learning process. That was only our second one, and it worked well this year because we still are learning and, we can work the kinks out.
Exactly.
And I feel like if anybody wants to come taste the chili, go taste it, because we did afterwards. So,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the calendar and let them move the pageant till August at whatever time they want to.
I'll second it.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you, Vicky.
thank
Thank
you.
you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Very well said. Approved 2025 Deer Urban Archery Season. It runs from January the 11th through February the 16th. And Angel Jenkins, will you talk to us about
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'll just be real quick. For those of you who are maybe new to this process, this is something that we have to do yearly in order to approve the participation for the town to be part of the urban archery season. It is only within the town corporate limits. It is not the town zip code. We have calls every year that people are asking if they have hunting land within the zip code. Does that apply? And it does not. I meant to ask our chief if we'd had any issues this past year, but I don't think there were any during the urban archery season that he could report on. There was last year one doe that was reported harvested during the season. This year's numbers are not in as the season just ended, so that information is not available to us. Once it is, we'll update you on that. There are some stipulations in order to hunt within the town limits. It has to be bow season, or bow hunting. Hunters have to have written permission on person from the landowner. They have to hunt from an elevated position of a platform 10 feet or more. And then no hunting is allowed on property that is owned by the town, and no arrows shall be discharged within 50 yards of a school, church, daycare, or park. And we have been a participant since 2017. And 5 harvested in that time frame. So very minimal. There may be those that just enjoy being able to be there in the woods and hunt with their children. Any questions that you have?
Does it include coyotes?
Well, coyote is an open season. However, discharge of a firearm inside the city limits is not allowed. So we did have an incident this past week with a coyote on the loose in town, and it has been taken care of. But it was a fox. Am I stating that correctly? It was a mangy fox. But we have rectified that issue. So.
We've about killed more police cars than they have with
We did, probably so. I know there's been more on right at my house on 109 killed than we have here.
One in your yard, almost.
Yes, almost. That's the second one in 2 weeks. So. Okay. Any questions? We do need a motion from the board to participate.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the 2025 Deer Urban Archery Season, January 11th through February 16th of 2025.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any disapproved? That motion carries. Approved street closure request for part of the Carolinas Antique Power Club. Angel.
Okay, we've had a request come to us from Heart of Carolina's Antique Power Club. And if you want more details on that, I will defer to Paula for any questions you have about the club itself. They're asking that we close Anderson Street. It is a town street, so it does not go through the DOT. We would just have to notify EMS of the closure for that day. So it would go between Newsom and Peacock, and we're looking at the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In order for them to host the show on property that's owned by Larry Furr. They're adjacent to the police department. And then they're also asking, in conjunction with that, to be able to use our impound lot on the next block to park their trucks and trailers during the event, so that it's not taking up space for people to come out and visit with them. Any questions that you have?
So who does this?
It's the Heart of the Carolinas Antique Tractor or Antique Power Club, but, Paula, if you would elaborate on the gentlemen that are involved and women as well.
So it's local, people that enjoy tractors, hit and miss motors, that sort of thing. We're including, cars in this event as well. But we, have a small club of about 30 people, and our main goal in this whole process is to be able to help and assist families or organizations that need help. So we've been able to donate funds to local residents that have had, hard times or whatever, people with cancer or whatever the situation may be. We've also supported the FFA for 2 years in selling tickets for a tractor and being able to donate to the FFA department. So we're nonprofits, and we do give, most all of the money back to the community. And this is our first time of wanting to host this. We have had tractor rides in the New Hope area for the past 2.5 years, and they kind of wanted to just bring it to town and offer it up to more people and expand the event.
Now, what's the date of this again?
It would be April 27th.
27.
So you are 501(c)(3).
We are. And they would also like to do a parade, and that has not been confirmed as to where. There's been talk of maybe potentially doing it through town and or leaving Anderson and going out to Mountain Vista, because they always enjoy the tractors coming through there. So it would really be the determination of the council or the mayor as to where we could actually hold the parade part of it.
Yeah. Do y'all do that with the farm park too, or that time?
Everybody that's involved in our club attends the farm park and spends all week there.
Oh, that's good.
So, and Tim has joined us on multiple occasions for events that we do. It's a community thing. If you've never been to the farm park, some may or may not have, but they become family over time to a lot of these people.
So April 27th, and it starts what time?
9 a.m. The flyer is attached to the dates and time.
Paula, you said that there's no mission, donations are welcome. Do people pay to put to have a car or their tractor in there, or do they?
In the past, they have, but this one we felt like we would just do it by donation, thinking that a lot of people will give if they know what it's going for. So we have to select a person and or group that we would give the funds to.
Okay.
But this time we are going to do it by donation, because a lot of times people will offer up more money. In the past, we've done a $25 entry fee per each tractor.
Well, I make a motion to approve the street closure.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Mayor, I have clarification, and that is giving permission for them to use the impound lot as well.
I make a motion to include the impound lot.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Resolution R 23-24. Okay. Approve agreement with North Carolina League of Municipalities for grant services. Thank you.
We were contacted by a representative from the League of Municipalities. There has been surplus funding made available to area towns for grant services. We are one of 100, I believe, 143 towns that were selected. They are offering to provide $30,000 to us for grant writing services, and it is for any department that we have, I had a Zoom meeting with them 2 weeks ago, and to discuss what the needs are of the town. So we went through every department and talked about the concerns that we have from town hall through water and sewer as well. So this would just be an agreement that we are agreeing to go in to them for the purpose of grant services under that donation of money. It's funded through ARPA funds.
And this is to addition to our other ARPA funds.
Yes, yes. This is basically the lease ARPA funds that they're distributing to local towns, smaller towns that are in need of those services.
So this money is money for us to find someone to write grants? Or
They have already contracted with a group that is going to be doing grant services. That's who I actually met with, and talking to them with what our needs are. And they assign someone who will work just with our town and look at what grants are available, what needs we have, and how they can best serve us through the funding that's available.
So we won't get lost in these 143 towns?
No, we have our own person, and they're based out of Charlotte. Very nice group of people. I think we'll have great success with them. As we have with the fire department, they've contracted with someone else for this year's grant service, but I already gave them what our needs are for the departments. So that way they can be looking out for what's coming down the line as far as grants.
Do we pick what we think's most important? They pick what's the best they can get? How does that work?
What they'll do is, I'm assuming, so you know what, that gets us sometimes, but they will provide us with a list of grants that they think would be a best fit. We can provide them with a scope of what we're, absolutely we want you to find a grant specifically for this, but if we leave it open, then it could be a wider range of things that could be made available. So, you would still have to sign off on approving a grant, applying for whatever grant it is. But that information will be brought back to you when it's made available.
Mr. Mayor, I so move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Resolution R 23-24-09, ARPA funding for oxidation ditch modification study. Angel.
So this is another grant that's coming to us. This is straight from the state regarding the American Rescue Plan Act, or as better known, ARPA. The funds are being sent to us for the purpose of a study to see what can be done to bring this oxidation ditch into service. And Troy, this will be a grant for the wastewater plant, as you guys know.
We'll see.
He's hopeful on that, but this is an actual study to see. The oxidation ditch has not been in service in many years, and so as you, from our visit last year at the wastewater treatment plant in Troy's presentation for our budget retreat, he did state that it is important to have that, and it can help the everyday production at the plant. So to have the funding come down to pay for the study when we're not having to pay for it, that's a huge bonus.
Who's gonna do the study?
Well, it was applied and approved by Labella,
Really? They got something done?
yes. So, and I've got more
2
details on
years.
that.
I'm excited.
So this is, and I spoke with Heather Miller, the representative with Labella. She
I
did
see
say,
she's not here tonight.
no, she's not here tonight.
I think I requested that.
I don't recall you requesting she be present this evening.
Maybe I did, but I did request a report every month, and that was in November, I think.
We will get to that. I've got information and updates provided later in the meeting. But the $30,000 coming down from this would help pay for the company to come in and do the actual project study to see what the condition is of the current oxidation ditch, what it would take to bring it to the standards that we needed in order to operate it, and also cover, whatever engineering, steps need to be taken in that process. So, we do need an approval to get this started with the state. As you know, that has kind of been the holdup on a lot of the things that we're going through right now. I just need a motion and a second if you want to pursue the grant for the oxidation ditch study.
I make a motion to approve the oxidation ditch, modification study for total funding of $30,000.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Consider and approve GPS mapping program, Diamond Maps.
You guys were given a printout of just some information that comes straight off of their website called diamondmaps.com. Not sure if you had an opportunity to actually go on the site. There's a little video. This guy's name is Bob, and he works for this town. So they tell a little story about how they get started with this company. This is a system that came to us by a City of Albemarle. Troy actually met someone who works for the City of Albemarle and was talking shop with them, and he showed them the system that they operate there. City of Thomasville uses this. It is a hands-on mapping system for our GPS mapping system for our utilities. It has several layers that can be applied. You can use it for water lines, sewer lines, your fire hydrants, stormwater. If we had gas lines, you could have that, but there's several other features that will benefit the town. It is normally a $20 per user service, but for small towns, they offer a $40 a month for unlimited users, and we do qualify for that, so we're under the 50,000 threshold, 50,000 population threshold. We'd be able to track all the information that is being gathered currently by Sunny Engineering for our water lines, the manholes, your valves. The system itself is operated off of tablets or iPhones, not iPhones, but cell phones, can be accessed through your computer. And on each asset, you can label when that asset was last maintenance work was last applied. So whether it's the manhole or a valve or your meters in the ground, things like that. It is a good tracking system for the department. They can have the information at hand and can have it in the field with them in the middle of the night instead of having to rely on where they think something is. They can pull this information in. When I spoke with Heather Miller, I told her about the system that we were looking at, and the I&I study that we have going on. It can also be a layer that can be put into the system. And so she was really excited to know that we are already looking at something that can incorporate the information that comes back to us from that study. Max Sunny with Sunny Engineering, he and Bobby Kevitt have reviewed this, and they feel like this will be a really great asset for us to have for our utility infrastructure. Any questions that you guys may have regarding the system itself?
Our total cost is $40
Per month.
per month.
How do they transport this from here to there? From Summit, is he doing all the lines?
They are doing water lines, so it's going to be, as I told Mayor and Dina today, all the stuff that we have going on right now. You got your water lines being tracked, you've got I&I. Our meters we have on a shape file, which we're hopeful that can be just uploaded into the system, because that was tracked years ago from rural water. Our hydrants, I've spoken with Chief Dorset, and they already have a GPS overlay of the hydrants, so we're hoping it's just a simple file upload. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing, yeah, he brought that up. So it's a matter of incorporating all of that information into one system that, just like Commissioner Morris has pulled up this information to see the hydrants that we currently have, the guys can see that in the field. They can go right to the tablet, pull it up, and have everything readily available to them.
That's something we've talked about for a
For
long
a
time.
long time.
And I think that this is way better than we thought we might have to pay for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly.
I will say, when Troy brought it to me, I was kind of concerned because something of the value of the level that this is usually out of our price range. But for it to be very user-friendly, you can go on to their website and see the layout, and it shows you step by step how to do it. It's gonna be a process. It'll be taking a staff member and having stuff that is not being done by an engineering firm to actually pinpoint, but if it's as easy as what the gentleman with Albemarle says, City of Thomasville has used it. LaBella said that they have heard good results back from the City of Thomasville on that. So local people using it is a bonus for us because we can call if we have problems. And can get
There's no better than people putting it in. It's gotta be put in correct.
Right, it's gotta be put in correct from the beginning, because if you start off on the wrong foot, you're downhill. So
Garbage in, garbage out.
absolutely. So you're exactly right. So any other questions that you guys have about the system?
But the benefit of it with all this work that's going on now, if you put it in correctly,
Sure.
it's there. Whereas if you don't put it in and then it's lost again, and all these people change hands, you're trying to dig it up and recreate the system.
I would make a motion that we approve the GPS mapping program with Diamond Maps.
I second it.
Second. Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor, say aye. That motion carries. On to an addition, 13A, approve update to the personnel policy and procedures, section 16, that addresses overtime and comp time. Angel, would you address this on that?
Okay. We have met and reviewed this information prior, and I bring it back to you with some changes that were recommended. What the policy is personnel policy and procedure, section 16, dealing with overtime and compensatory time. Section H, which is specific to salary exempt employees. They currently do not receive any compensatory time above 40 hours. Town didn't expect supervisors to occasionally work more than 40 hours a week as part of their job and elevated pay. Should overtime be a continuous situation for a period of time due to needs, the town manager, at their sole discretion, may grant occasional additional time off for exempt employees. And then what the recommendation is to amend to H1, exempt employee excess hours policy. And at times, extenuating circumstances occur that require exempt employees to work more than their required hours as outlined above. Conditions that warrant excess hours for exempt employees are as follows. And we'll get into more detail in just a second, but emergencies, inclement weather, equipment failure, special town events, staffing shortages, similar conditions to deliver town services. Hours in excess of 50 hours in one work week will be compensatory hours for hours starting at hour 51 work hour. It doesn't read well. All excess hours must be approved by the town manager. Exempt employees may choose to receive hour for hour compensation or accrue time for hour. The exempt employee may accrue up to 40 hours. Any hours that are accrued are not paid out if the exempt employee were to leave their position with the town. When we met and discussed this policy, it was asked that we do specifics under emergencies and similar conditions to deliver town services. I'd really like guidance on that. If you guys have something specific that you want listed there, I just don't want us to end up, as Attorney said earlier, pigeonholing.
Yeah, the concern I had when I was reviewing this with Angel is that if we try to actually give specific emergency definitions, we're never gonna get all the emergencies there. And so typically with policies like this, they will leave that to a manager's discretion, obviously, because you don't necessarily know what could happen. And So if we list, the 10 emergencies we can think of, then we're pigeonholed to those. Well, what happens when the 11th comes up that clearly would be an emergency? So from a legal standpoint, my recommendation was just to leave it as emergencies.
I can see that, because I got thinking about it too. I thought, ooh, you could really go down a rabbit hole
Yes.
fast.
Yes.
Any questions or comments?
Did we put in here how their hourly rate is figured? Is that,
So the hourly rate is figured based on the Department of Labor guidelines. So that's really not up for us as a town to determine. So we have to do it in accordance with that.
okay, well, I just want to make sure that
Could we say in there, as determined by Department of,
I think I don't think we need to say
okay,
that. Yeah.
we simplify. Okay.
Any other questions? We'll need a motion to approve.
Does it, okay. I guess that's,
Talking about the specific incidents that we asked for a ruling from the Department of Labor on.
no, okay.
What's
Department of
in
Labor,
there?
it just, it says, time and a half, right? I mean, because it is time and a half.
Hour for hour, is what it states.
Yeah.
Hour for hour.
Okay.
Because based on what Department of Labor stated is that by policy is how you compensate exempt employees. So by our policy, we state that it's hour for hour, not overtime in these situations.
So if you want to change it to being time and a half, then that's a policy change.
no, I just want to understand, make sure we get it legally.
The hour for hour is more than typically
Right.
is, because you typically don't do anything.
Exactly.
So,
Typically not entitled to
exactly.
anything.
And the only thing I was thinking is that, of course, this guideline says that was based on 40 hours, based on 51 hours.
And that's based on whatever our policy says, according to the
And you
Department of
decided
Labor.
to say,
And you said it as 51.
we
Okay,
did that
okay.
at the
So-
special meeting.
Hayden, did you have a question?
Oh, we are going back pay to January 1st, correct?
Yes, I would like to have this back for January 1st, effective then. Or
So when you
first payroll with January.
So if you make your motion,
First
if you want
work
it to
payroll.
be that, you usually make a motion that this be adopted and the pay be retroactive until the first payroll of January 2024.
Which would be the first worked payroll, let me restate that. Because I think the first payroll was January 1st or somewhere along there, so.
Which would have been for the prior year.
Right.
Hey, that's a good motion for you to make.
Yes.
Do we need to make the motion to approve this first and then the back pay?
You can do it all in one motion.
All right, I make a motion to approve 13A overtime pay and the back pay to the first pay period of January.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. That motion carries. Great. Town Department head reports. Police Department, Chief Mike Jenkins.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, good evening.
Evening.
I will be very brief unless you have a lot of questions. I'll tell you that Captain Shearer is still out, and I asked for prayers for him. I think he goes back to the doctor tomorrow, and I don't think he'd mind me sharing that with you. Officer Kashif has completed the FTO program and is doing very well. And he is also rented an apartment in the town of Denton, so he is a Dentonian. So that's very good. Recently, or in previous meetings, I talked to you a little bit about crime stats and the fact that we still were not able to look at those and analyze them, which is important for me as a manager to see how we're doing and where we need to allocate the folks that we have. But last week, we checked with the Sheriff's Department. They still don't have the ability under the Flex Motorola system to submit crime data to the SBI. So we're sort of at their mercy. Hopefully they'll get that figured out soon. I think hate crime stats are due to the FBI in May, so hopefully they will get that done very soon. we conducted a police auction recently, and I wanted to thank Commissioner Morris. He did that at no cost to the police department or to the town. It generated $582 for the Davidson County Board of Education. I wanted to particularly thank Mary Abernathy and Paula for helping with that. Had I been the person keeping up the money or trying to keep up with Mr. Morris as he was auctioneering, we would have been in deep trouble, because I don't think I could have done it. But it was interesting, after we had the auction, I noticed Officer Kashif going online looking at auctioneers, so maybe he's got an interest in being an auctioneer and a police officer. But thanks again for your help with that. Still waiting on the title to return on the 1988 blue van that has been housed at our old public works building for some time. Actually, one of the people there at the auction asked me about that blue van, and he said he would really like to buy another one to irritate his wife, that he had 2 or 3 already and he wanted one more. So I'm going to try to let him know when we get the title back. But I suspect that the manager and you folks approve will be doing that on gov deals sometime in the future. I have made a conditional offer by memorandum from the town manager to an individual who I'm still completing the background. He did the drug screen yesterday. He'll have the physical on March 8th, but he is certified, so hopefully soon we'll have another police officer in town once we get him through the FTO program. So people are not knocking our door down. They're not knocking the door down in Thomasville, but Thomasville just raised their pay, and so they're ahead of us again. But that's one of, not sure, and I don't recall what that figure was, but it was a pretty good increase from where they were. So that's sort of the game with law enforcement these days. But I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. I'm reminded of that song, if you keep up with country music. Toby Keith, recently passed away at the age of 62 with stomach cancer. And I really took a lot of interest in this song, Don't Let the Old Man In. And I feel like the old man is chasing me from all of the phone calls 24 hours. But we're having a good time. We're doing great things, and I think we're providing a good service to our citizens, and we're going to continue doing that. But the old man has just about got me. But I'm trying to keep him deep down. Going out on the porch, as they say in the song. Any questions you may have?
Maybe the new policy we passing out will help the old man out a little bit.
I think it will. But we're getting along well, because I never see her. We'd be glad to answer any questions you may have about police operations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody, Brandon, do you?
He's not. I think he's working at Lexington tonight.
Public Works, Michael High.
Several water taps we've been installing. We've changed out several cleanouts and problem houses, putting in sewers. I started working on trying to get the power back to the flag at Red Hill. In the spare time, I'll get that done. We've been working on the drains for the water plant lagoons. Got it all dug out, got it piled up. Getting ready to start laying pipe, gravel, and sand back in. Working on the sewer plant clarifiers. We loaded up all the metal, took it to the coating company last week. Hopefully we'll get that coated, we can get that put in for Troy. And Ricky and Jesse set for their city distribution exam Thursday. Hopefully they'll pass it. And our usual work. Anything on public works?
Surplus stuff. What's the some surplus stuff?
I'm getting a list together. I gotta find the rest of the data plates on the generators. The water plant, been lining up several contractors to finish up some work going on down there. The new generator, he called me, said it's supposed to be ready to be delivered something happened with his crane service, so I gave him the fellow we use out of Lexington. He was supposed to contact him. There's several of them $100 sealed lights that's going out at the water plant. I called my electrical guy down there in the last week. He looked them over. He said they probably are going to be under warranty. Hopefully he'll give me lights and we'll put them in. Thomas, I'm hoping he'll be reinstated on the 13th. That's when the state meets. We'll have to get his back. Continuing ed and probably pay the $250 a year back certification fees. So $100 and some continuing ed, he should be back. And we've done a bunch of work on the filters, cleaned them. We've done a lot of, I bought a new jar test machine. I think I got everybody pretty much trained on the jar testing now. We've got the filter run time back from less than 8 hours to over 50 hours. So that's really, really, really helping. And we've cut the chemicals down to nothing. So that should help. Less money to spend.
Thank you.
And that's it for the water plant.
Michael, what about the 10-inch line? Can we find out where it goes?
If I gotta do a bunch of locating and a bunch of digging. I think I know where it goes, I just don't know where exactly it goes in the fence at. If any of y'all remember where the water tank used to sit on that property, that's probably where it is.
Just way on over in the property.
Yeah, but I mean, where it,
Barbara,
you're
Jenkins,
standing-
I think,
What?
for the Bidwell Sheriff Company water tank.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
if you're standing on the road looking straight at wherever the water tank was, that's where the line's gonna go under that fence at.
There used to be a riser there in the fence.
They
Right at the
bulldozed all that off. But we can work on it.
I mean, that's gotta help our system, correct?
It should. I myself would rather get Handy's big tank tied onto it, and that would go back to where we was, but if we can loop it into our system, it's gotta help something.
Yeah.
Which is part of what Sunny Engineering is looking at with the study. They did mention that.
And that's it for all that. Anything?
Thank you, Mark. Wastewater treatment plant, Troy Ranch.
We are continuing to work with the water plant on the consumer confidence report. That's the annual water report. Still collecting data for that. We did complete hydrant flushing, and we sampled for trihalomethanes and HAA5s. It's a quarterly test that we run on the water system. We did pass both of those. We had our effluent flow meter calibrated this month, and we completed toxicity testing and extended annual testing this month in February. We also completed our semi-annual maintenance on the pumps and the blower motors at the wastewater treatment plant. And we began doing yard work. So the weeds are popping up. So that's really about it, just our normal work.
When are you doing the land application?
The end of March, the last week in March, is when the farmer said that we could get on the land.
Are you back in there where you were?
She's agreed. There's going to be some changes to the agreement, but yeah, we're going to be able to still use that land.
But you're going to have to walk and get the...
Absolutely. Yep.
Is this Joel?
Yeah.
And once we finally get that bar screen, that will stop you from having.
That will stop me from having to walk out there, yeah.
Is that in your report, Angel, about the bar screen?
Anything else, Mayor?
I think that's it, Troy.
All right, thank you.
Administration, Paul.
I didn't really have a lot to report. I have started getting quotes for signage at East Salisbury and Highway 109. So far the prices come in much more reasonable than the first one that I had got. Hope to have more details for you at the budgeting meeting. I had reached out to a second source for a digital panel to add underneath it, just to see what kind of price range we are on that. He was out this week and should have me, an amount by the budget meeting. We've started off, fairly well, for the memorial veteran flags. We've got 7 on order as of today, so that's a fairly good start, and those, will continue on until April 12th. And our daily activities are going as smooth as they possibly can. Yeah.
County Attorney update.
The only thing that I really wanted to update you guys on is there's some recent changes in some of the legislation concerning the enforcement of condemnation actions and lien actions. So I'm reviewing our policies to make sure that we're doing those correctly, and if we need to make any updates, I'll present that to you.
Town Manager's report.
Yes, I have a copy of the printed report. A lot of it's already been reviewed for the departments. I do want to add that Town Hall, under Town Hall, the Civic Center blinds have been installed with the help of Public Works Department, so I appreciate them come out and helping do that. It does look really nice. So if you drive by, just take a notice. Hopefully they're pleased with that, those who use the building for their meetings. The Planning and Zoning Board, they are still reviewing the subdivision ordinance for updates. They have had no current variances or rezoning requests in the past couple of months. We don't have anything that will come before them this month. The Parks and Rec Board, their Easter extravaganza is March 17th. And then I did share the concerns with them regarding the pageant and the cook-off. And as you know, the members were present tonight to address those. The other information is on projects that we have going on. The first section being an update from Lavella. There is a full-page report, 2-page report from Ms. Heather Miller, that it does outline the different projects that we currently have and what's going on with them. Basically, in the conversation that we had, I talked to her again today, and it is still that the state is the biggest holdup on most of the information. We are still waiting on project funding letters to come in from the state, which gives them the right to move ahead on a lot of the projects. The water line replacement will be the first project that you'll actually see bid out. That's because it was the first project that they started on. We are at a point that we added East First Street to the water line replacements. As Mr. Howell will tell you, they've done a lot of repairs on West First. I wrote that in there wrong. It is West First. They've done a lot of repairs on West First, and in knowing that we could add some more lines to the project and still be within budget, they're having that information surveyed, and we'll add that as an amendment to the ARPA funding. The bar screen and screw conveyor project, the vendor is working on the scope of this project. It is a vendor that Troy has worked with before, and Ms. Miller stated today that they are supposed to have this report her within 2 weeks. And then the infrastructure and inflow, which is I&I, is working with Trans-State on this project, and they are going to also be providing us with that mapping system, which will be an overlay for the system that you guys just approved for our infrastructure mapping. Ms. Miller did ask if we could schedule a time for her to come down and meet with the board once these other projects come in over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and let her bring all the projects, lay it all out so you see where they are as far as what information has been provided, where they're going, and what we're waiting on. Hopefully, within that time frame, we'll also have some more information back on the state funding letters that have not been received.
On the I&I, are they using what we've already cambered, or we're gonna reinvent the wheel again?
So the information, I mean, of course, they have the camera information. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Heather Miller worked with the group from PTRC on that project, because we received a grant for them to initially do that, but there were areas that were not visible, that was not a good camera, or they could not particularly see into the storm drain. So they do have that footage, they will use it, but there's areas in town that they just could not get to for whatever reason. Clark Acres being one of them. Maybe thinking that the system's collapsed, or there may be other issues in there that are causing problems. But they will use that with that study.
Well, can we put it on the calendar, is it same project, the last two say projected over the next 2 weeks? 2 weeks will be March 18th. Can we can we reach out on March 18th and just check on the status of that?
What I would like to do is for you guys to give me a couple of dates so I can go back to her, since it, I don't know her scheduling, but she did say, 2 to 3 weeks. And I did tell her that we were meeting on the 19th for our budget retreat. So not putting too much on your plate in 1 week, maybe the week after or the last week of the month. Whatever works best for you guys. But a couple of dates within the 2 week time frame, third or fourth week will work great. I'll move forward with Summit Engineering. I did speak with Mac and Bobby over the phone, and then Bobby came into the office and laid the map out to show what information he had provided so far. Bobby Kevitt reached out to Michael today and was hopeful to get down today. He was caught up in a project in Ashboro. So he should be here this week in order to go around with Michael. There's a couple of areas that have valves that he's either not able to locate or they're not opening. So therefore, he needs Michael's assistance, since Michael knows the system better than anyone in town, can go around with him and say, this is here, this is not, making sure that they have the right information. They are also looking at the prospect of that 10-inch water line that comes straight into town and dead ends on 47. Possibility of what it can do for our system and interlooping it, and also the connection that Handy's water tank has versus the North Main connection or the 47 connection. So that again is something else that this group wants to come before you when they get their information. They want to present it to you outside of a regular meeting so that they have time to just go into detail.
What kind of time frame? Because last meeting they were coming the next day.
Well, the last meeting they were coming that day and did not, for whatever reason, I had no explanation on. But Bobby is working through the last few things with Michael. That's our last point, is him getting here to work with Michael on that. Then they have to go back and map it all out. So, I can't give you a time frame from them because he hasn't given that to me. But I can definitely tell them that the sooner the better, which we have emphasized, but I don't have a 2 week time frame from them. Once he meets with Michael, I think you'll have a better understanding of what time frame they are looking at. In looking at the next item, it's Paul Briggs, our the architect group. Mayor and I did meet with Paul Briggs and his associate Brandon, and just talked about the potential of what we're looking at with Town Hall, and could they possibly be interested in working with us on the construction phase of the project. I did talk to Paul Briggs this afternoon, and he is wanting to know a cost, if we know what kind of cost that we're happy with looking at. And I told him when we met, I think Meryl, remember this, that we don't have good figures anymore. The last figures that we had on this project was post-COVID, 2018. So we're not really sure what this project's going to cost. We've since changed the plan from what it originally was. We've gone to strictly a town hall building with the meeting rooms, the adjacent private boardroom meeting room, and also additional bathrooms on the outside. So there are some changes that could affect the cost overall, but the biggest affect is economy, that's affecting the price of it, so
But we did have a price from the other guy, didn't we? 1.2 or something?
roughly, that's what, he came back with what current price was per square foot, and we looked at it based on, but that's all gonna be determined too, on materials used, contractors and things like that. And talking with, the representative from USDA, they are absolutely interested in working with us on funding, whatever funds could be there. Current interest rate, I think, was 3.25. I've not explored any others because there again, we don't have a good figure that we're looking at. Paul seemed to feel like that he wanted a direction to go as far as what price are we willing to say that we're wanting to look at. He didn't want to get too deep into the weeds without having a direction. He's looking at a project and it being $2 million, and we're looking at $1 million project. He wants to be a little bit closer. So I think that's definitely something at our budget meeting that we really do need to talk about in depth. Okay.
That Angel, on the building now, the way it's having problems deteriorating in certain areas.
So the area that we received pictures on a couple weeks ago is the awning that's outside of the building itself, and that portion is going to be removed with any upgrade that we do. So could it come down now? Yes, but with the structure of the building and not knowing exactly, we don't know how it's attached or what that could be. The tiles that are up there, they're really not made, what I could best tell, not made for outdoor use. So I did stop and rope it off until Public Works was able to go over and secure that area that had fallen. But it just looked like maybe over the years water had seeped in and it had rusted the actual structure of the cross beam that was in there. Not the beam itself, but the framework, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for the ceiling, for the suspended ceiling. So Public Works has secured that and removed the tape from there. But the longer it sits, the more concerns are going to be.
Yeah, that's what I just hate to see it look like, look bad in the town.
Definitely.
And is it not possible for Paul to take the concept that we approved with Fuller and
right. Now he is looking at that concept
and give us a ballpark? His ballpark.
I think it boils down to he's not sure how much we want to invest, so therefore I don't know.
Don't waste his time if he don't know what we're gonna do.
Right.
So what's our goal? I mean, what's the goal? What's the max? I mean, what's our plan as a town that we're not going to spend?
No, we had 7 years. We want to do something with it.
I know. I agree. I'm saying. So, what do you think?
We had some property one year would give to us and we give it back. Maybe we'll give this back to them.
So, like I said, I think it really is a conversation for our budget retreat for us to look into. We have our plan and it's a great plan. Paul and Brandon looked at it and felt comfortable with it. They pulled the information into their system. They're just not sure how far we want them to go with it. And then not knowing a cost, which is hard for us. We're not contractors.
Right.
So we really don't know how to give them that unless we just say we want to do this, but we don't want to go over this amount of money. So then they're going to have to come back and tell us what we can accomplish with that. So,
Okay, that's how you're
How are we gonna have to
you're
do
gonna
it?
put back into it.
Yeah.
You have to say this is the funds
This
that
is
we have
what we got.
allotted.
Yeah, that's
We
what
need to
came
know
up
what
with that.
everybody is willing to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Because
that's what I was
nobody's gonna be able to
talking
figure it if we can't come to that
No.
conclusion.
You're just gonna go around and around in circles.
Like we have been for years.
We need to either just sit around and stick with it or just get rid of it.
Well, I mean, you're used to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what people do. They say, this is our budget. This is what we hope to accomplish, but this is our maximum dollar. And they'll give you everything they can give you for that dollar.
And you start cutting.
Yeah, absolutely. Wood Engineering Firm is a company I brought to you guys at the last meeting who they do water and sewer infrastructure. And Jason Fowles and I met with them by Zoom and talked to them about the concerns that we have with the water plant, sewer plant. Jason more talking about the water plant. I in general encompassed everything that we need, but I did tell them You know, our goal is to have a long-term relationship with an engineering firm who's looking out for our best interests all the time and who's able to be on site if we need them to be a part of the team. And when I first talked to them, they really threw up a red flag and said, we're not sure if we can take you on because we are covered up with current projects and long-term projects with our current customers. After talking to them via Zoom, they were much more confident in being able to provide us services. Mr. Faust has worked with them through Montgomery County when he was at there as their ORC, and had a lot of good rapport with them, and also saw a lot of great results on funding through grants and projects that they had to do. The first thing that they want to do is to come out and just review the whole entire location of the water and the sewer plant. I did reach out to them to see if they have a date, so if they could do this. I have not heard back from them. Reached out to them again this morning, and as of meeting time, I don't have a good date from them. On March the 19th, let's see, no, that's coming up. We had training services, and Fayetteville Mayor Paula, myself, and Michael attended, and it is about the viable utilities training. There is a system through the state of North Carolina, the Viables Utility Program, that is set up to help distressed water and wastewater units. And I've provided you with links in here. I can send it by email because it's difficult to type all this in. I understand that and appreciate it. But it is through Session Bill 2020-79, House Bill 1087. And it describes what this program is set up to do. It is set up to help those who need it. Our system is aging. We have a lot of projects that are coming up and that we're going to need assistance with. The first three things that they like for you to do: number one is training. We've had the training. Number two is asset mapping or management, which is what we're talking to Wooten about coming out and doing. And the third thing is a rate study, and I did tell them that we are going to be going through that with rural water. They did not discourage us not to go ahead and have this rate study, but they did want us to know that once we do the asset mapping that we may have to do another rate study just to look at overall projection on projects that we have to do versus funding that we have coming in. So just know that if we move forward with the rate study, we could potentially turn around and have to do another one by calendar year end before the new year. On February 28th, Elizabeth and I attended a meeting at PTRC. It was sponsored by the North Carolina Pros Community Engagement Survey Group, which is basically a group set up to report back to the governor how towns and area services have recovered from COVID. It was a very interesting group. There was a wide variety of people in attendance, but it was a good perspective from someone else's point of view. So I think it opened our eyes to what everyone is actually dealing with. There's still a lot of struggles out there. A lot of people in the community are still struggling. Businesses are struggling for staffing. And so across the board, I think we all walked away with a lot of information. Once the information is made available, I will share that out with you guys. They were going to compile that. And I think they were going to several regions to see if they can track a difference across the state. I do have your full reporting from Labella or Heather Miller. And like I said, she does want to come down and have a face-to-face with you in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Any questions that you guys have outside of what's been covered, they'll forward the department heads.
I wanted to ask you, when do you think as the weather changes that we'll start working on Johnson Park?
So Johnson Park, Walter Johnson Park, I have waited on Chris Phelps because Chris is the main one who was going to work on this design for this park and is going to work on some grants and actually reach out to some corporate sponsors that he has worked with over the past several years. As you know, he's very busy and he does do a lot of, he has done a lot of the parks in our area. I have not heard back from Chris, and I just reached out to him 2 weeks ago. Still I've not heard from him. So I think at this point, we just need to move forward with our own design, our own plan, and,
I think he's got one started.
well, I'd love to have it.
He told me he had one started. He's on vacation last week, week before one, but he said he had one started and he would get with you the next week or so.
Okay.
That was last week.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we'll, hopefully get that. I've seen his work, and I know you guys have too. He does a great job. He comes into town, he's worked with us on Keep Davidson County Beautiful with our, litter sweep program as well, and, he has a real desire to make sure that Davidson County is preserving some of our natural history, so.
Maybe whenever we have that litter sweep and he's down, maybe we could get him to come a little early and swing by it.
Which is what we did last time. That was actually our last meeting was
When he,
April.
when he was in spring.
Yeah, spring of last year, so, but, like I said, I did reach out to him several weeks ago just to see if he still had that interest, so if he has a plan started, then we'll see if we can work towards that, but he is a great avenue for, not only what is needed in an area, but how to develop it and the funding for it too, so.
Angel, how much money do we have out there? ARPA funds and state budget money and
Gosh, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I can definitely get that to you, but I don't know off the top of my head, Commissioner Morris. So are you talking,
we had seemed like $3 million ARPA funds. And then did we get $2 million two separate times from the state budget?
so the
And what do we
last
need to do
state,
to get it?
the last state approved budget was, earmarked $2 million to come into the town. And that was, as you know, just approved in the fall.
It was unrestricted, right?
It is unrestricted, but we had asked Representative Walford if he could put money in the funding for us for our water and sewer department. So it's not town funds, it's infrastructure funds. So you've got $2 million there that would be for enterprise funds, basically. The ARPA funding, so we had ARPA funds, and then we also had
600,000, some of them.
SIF, I think is the other abbreviation for that, but if you will allow, I will pull this information and email you, because I don't want to quote it off the top of my head and it not be correct.
I just want to make sure, I know some of us got a time limit on it. I don't
It
want
does. 2026 is still that drop dead on some of that funding, and as we were talking the other day with the representatives from DEQ who came down that we met with in training as well. They're asking for it to be pushed out, but they're not guaranteeing that it will be. So we have to move forward and as if it's not going to be extended. The problem, when I spoke to Ms. Miller, across the whole state, everybody received money. So everybody has projects. Everybody is trying to get them approved, trying to get them done, and trying to get them paid for. And DEQ and DWI are suffering because they gave money, but they didn't plan on how much of an effect it was going to have on staffing to get these projects turned back around. And what Ms. Miller said is all the contacts that she has had with DEQ and DWI over the years, none of them are there now. So they're struggling with staffing like we are, but it is to a point where they're so overwhelmed and they're short-staffed that we're all paying the consequences for that, which is unfortunate on our side, but we do have to keep trying to move forward in order to make sure that we're not missing that deadline.
Now, the American Rescue Plan, does that have to be completed in our deadline this year?
2026.
Okay, good.
The concern across the board is that even if we have all of our projects earmarked and we've been doing what we should, we may not have the approvals back. But that's what everybody across the board is suffering. So the thought process is that they will have to extend those deadlines, but we've had no guidelines on that at this point. So we'll keep you posted if anything we need here as well.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Commissioner comments and concerns.
I had a resident contact me after some of the paving was done, thanking the town, thanking the board for the pavement. Said that, their ride into their house now is so smooth instead of being, bumpy like it was. And they said a lot of times you all hear the bad stuff, but I just wanted to let you know the good stuff, that it is very much appreciated. That was all I had.
Peacock is scheduled to be paved this summer by DOT. That was about I've heard that 3 or 4 times, but.
Oh, you've been mayor, haven't you, Mayor?
Exactly. South Main too. But, this month's, NPO meeting, I'm gonna check on it again. I'd really like to see that happen this summer. Anything else, anyone? Not, we'll move on. Announcements. Easter extravaganza, March the 16th, 2024. Starts at 12 and ends at 2. Our budget meeting is on March the 19th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Easter extravaganza, rain date, I like that. March 23rd, 2024, same time, 12 to 2. Holiday observed, Good Friday, March 29th, 2024. And we've got the paper pickup on April the 19th. The more the merrier on that.
Just have another thing.
Do what?
Our next meeting is scheduled for April 1st, which is Easter Monday. Also April Fool's, but the official holiday is Easter Monday. What would be the pleasure of the board to move it to the Tuesday night instead of Monday, being that it's a holiday?
And before the board says anything, I had explained to Angel at the last meeting, my family is going to murder me if I am not out of town that week of spring break. So if you need me present at the meeting, if we could potentially move it to the following Monday, that would work much better for my schedule. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to drive in from out of town for the meeting on Tuesday and drive back out of town.
It's fine.
We can just call you if we need you.
I'll be available by phone the entire meeting. So however you want it to be.
Put you on Zoom.
So either April the 2nd on Tuesday night or April the 8th on the following Monday night.
April 2nd.
I know the April 8th. So you're here.
And I can be available via Zoom either way.
So, okay, what is the pleasure of April the 8th or last that?
I'd rather do it earlier so we can get some of the stuff taken care of, maybe. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
if
fine.
we wait a week, it's another week, it's another week.
I thought Zoom wasn't a possibility, because I'd asked about that.
For her,
Yeah,
she's
it's
not
really not
voting.
for her.
It's not.
Okay.
She don't vote.
Okay, so what, okay, I don't know how to do this. April the 2nd, show of hands? Okay,
I'm okay anyway.
okay. So the next meeting will be advertised as a change to April the 2nd on Tuesday.
Really? Yeah, I know. That's not a holiday, really.
It's not, but I didn't know if there'd be more people out of town, so therefore it'd be easier. In case somebody did.
Is the office closed that day?
We are not closed, that's why it didn't faze me, but in case one of you guys decided to take a long weekend, I did think it would be appropriate to have half the board gone and not be able to hold a meeting.
I'll be here.
We don't close either. Not business don't close either.
So am I hearing the board say that you just rather hold it on April the 1st?
It's fine with me, because I'm
You gotta work
here.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
if I'm
work
not
all
here,
of
I'll
it.
let you know.
We'll do
Okay.
it.
Then we
You're
won't
not
make any
here?
changes
Yeah,
to
I'll
this.
see that.
Okay.
She said no, I won't be here.
She don't vote.
No.
No, I said the second be
Okay.
good.
Okay, anything else?
So which we doing, first or second?
I'm guessing we're doing the 1st and Ms. Hostess will not be here. Is that okay? I'm good either way, so it's entirely up to you guys.
Don't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me. I guess we just usually don't change it unless it, let's
Let's
do
do
it
it hard.
first.
Okay,
Do it first.
April first.
I'll just need the meeting as scheduled.
Anything else? I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now adjourn.